I remember the moment I opened that napkin. It held only 6 words scrawled in hurried ink. Go to the bathroom now. Don't tell your date. My stomach went icy instantly. I lifted my eyes toward the waitress quietly. She said nothing at all, only gave me a warning look. Something felt deeply, terribly wrong. My date smiled across the table, waiting for me to take another sip of my drink. I didn't realize it then, but that woman had just saved me from something truly horrifying. Before we begin, make sure to subscribe and comment below where you're watching from. This story might change the way you see strangers forever. My name is Lena Brooks. I'm 27 and teach art at a small middle school in Seattle. I've always believed in finding good in people. Maybe that's why I missed what was approaching that night. After a brutal breakup 1 year ago, I'd finally pushed myself to date again. My mom, Marianne, my constant support, said, "Honey, open your heart, but keep your eyes open too." I laughed then, never knowing how true those words were. That Friday evening, I felt nervous yet excited. I'd met Ryan Hale, my date, through a dating app 3 weeks earlier. He seemed ideal, charming, polite, and sincere. We texted endlessly every night, sharing everything from travel hopes to favorite films. He made me feel noticed again. When I arrived at the restaurant, he was already waiting, standing to greet me with a smile. "You look amazing," he said, pulling out my chair gently. The place felt warm and intimate, with soft music playing. Rain tapped against the windows quietly. It felt like a scene from romantic films I adored. Ryan ordered wine before I checked the menu. "You'll love this," he said confidently. I smiled, flattered by his thoughtfulness. He asked about my students, and I shared a story. One painted a skyline using only blue shades. He laughed, listened closely, and held eye contact. It made me feel oddly at ease, but something felt slightly wrong beneath it all. I couldn't explain it clearly. Maybe his compliments felt rehearsed, or how he checked his phone often, like he awaited something important. Still, I ignored the feeling. I wanted the evening perfect. Halfway through dinner, our waitress returned. Her name tag read Tra. She appeared friendly, mid-30s maybe, with observant, kind eyes. "How's everything tasting?" she asked, glancing briefly toward my drink. I noticed nothing strange then. Ryan continued a story about California, and I laughed along. Everything felt normal until minutes later when Tra returned again. She refilled water glasses calmly. Leaning closer, she smiled and softly said, "That lipstick shade suits you. What's it called?" What's it called?" I smiled back, but before answering, she slid a folded napkin beside my hand and walked away. When I opened it, the message struck like a sudden wave. "Go to the bathroom. Now, don't tell your date." My chest tightened. My hands shook beneath the table. I glanced at Ryan. He watched me closely, waiting for my response. His smile looked different, sharper, almost unsettling. "Everything okay?" he asked, voice calm yet probing. I forced a smile. "Yeah, just need to freshen up," I replied, trying to sound casual. Standing up, my legs felt unsteady. Each step toward the bathroom felt heavier than before. I didn't know what awaited me there, but something warned me. Whatever Tara had noticed, it was bad. The moment I stepped inside the bathroom, gripping sink edges, trying desperately to steady myself, my breathing felt shallow and uneven. My heart hammered wildly inside chest, so loud inside my ears. I read the note again slowly just to confirm it existed. The words remained exactly the same. Firm, clear, sharp with urgency. "Go to the bathroom now. Don't tell your date." Who writes something so alarming unless something truly dangerous is happening? My thoughts raced wildly everywhere. One frightening idea chased another. Was it a cruel prank? Tara confused me entirely. Or was Ryan hiding something darker? I stared at myself briefly. The mirror showed a stranger. My lipstick looked uneven and smeared. My fingers trembled uncontrollably. For the first time tonight, I felt genuinely unsafe inside. I considered calling my mom, but feared worrying her prematurely. Before understanding what was happening, as I reached into my purse, searching quickly for my phone, the bathroom door suddenly opened. Tara stepped inside swiftly, closing it quietly behind her. Her expression stayed calm, controlled, but her voice dropped low. "Listen carefully," she said firmly. "I believe your date drugged drink." For one long second, I simply stared at her. My mind failed to process. "What?" I whispered weakly. No, that can't be true. You must be mistaken. He wouldn't do that. She shook her head firmly. I've waited tables for years. I know exactly what I saw. He waited while you looked at your phone distracted, then leaned over your glass. He used his hand quickly. I didn't see what dropped, but I know that motion. I've seen it before. My legs suddenly felt hollow. I stumbled back against wall. Are you absolutely sure? He seemed so normal. Tara sighed quietly, sadly. They always seem normal. You must stay right here. Do not return to table. My entire body began shaking. A heavy lump filled throat. I tried speaking, no sound. Finally, words barely escaped. What should I do? What should I do? I've called the manager already and the police too, she said calmly. They're on their way. We need you safe until they arrive. I nodded silently, tears rising. I fought the urge crying, but imagining sitting across from someone planning harm made my stomach churn. I felt nauseous remembering wine waiting untouched on table. How close I came drinking. Tara gently led me back towards staff hallway behind bathrooms. You can wait here, she said reassuringly. He can't see you from dining room. The hallway smelled strongly of coffee and cleaning chemicals. And chemicals. It was mostly silent there, only distant dishes clattered. I sat on a narrow bench, trying to calm breathing again. Every few seconds, I looked toward the hallway entrance, half expecting Ryan bursting through, smiling like nothing wrong. From where I sat quietly, I heard faint voices drifting. Ryan questioned a waitress nearby, then his voice subtly changed. He asked where I'd gone, my hands clenched tightly. That charming tone now sounded false, almost sharp, almost threatening. I couldn't see his face, but imagined his searching eyes. Scanning room, pretending concern. Tara returned minutes later, whispering, He's questioning the host now, asking if you spoke before leaving table. He's starting to panic. She checked her phone briefly. Police are 2 blocks away. I swallowed hard nervously. Should I call my mom? I just need her voice. Go ahead quietly, Tara said. Keep your voice low. When my mom answered, tears finally spilled freely. Mom, I whispered shakily. I'm at a restaurant. Something's wrong, but okay. A waitress is helping. Her voice sharpened instantly. What do you mean wrong? Are you safe right now? Yes, just stay nearby. I'll call you again. I'll call you again. When I hung up phone, sirens sounded faint outside, growing louder by seconds. Tara exhaled with relief. They're here, she said. Before police even entered, Ryan suddenly stood up. The dining room fell silent. He spoke calmly to host, his tone cold, measured. She stepped outside for call, he said evenly. Tell her I'll wait in the car. Without another glance, he headed toward exit. Tara's expression hardened instantly. Stay here, she ordered firmly, then rushed toward entrance. My heart raced painfully fast. I heard Tara explaining everything. I covered my mouth tightly, terrified he'd return suddenly. Minutes passed like hours. Then an officer appeared. He said it was safe. He's in custody, he explained. We'll need a statement. When I finally walked out, I saw Ryan through the window being led away by 2 officers. His expression was empty, impossible to read, like a mask finally falling away. My drink still waited untouched on table, the red wine shining faintly under restaurant lights, like a silent, dangerous warning. Tara placed a gentle, steady hand on my shoulder softly. You're safe now, she murmured quietly. I could barely form words. Thank you, I breathed softly. Yet even as police started their investigation, one thought refused to leave my mind. How close I came to trusting someone seemingly perfect, and how a stranger's bravery and fast thinking saved my life. When the officer asked me to wait in the back office, my legs felt distant. The air inside the restaurant suddenly felt heavy, unreal, dreamlike. Warm laughter from nearby tables clashed with the storm raging inside me. I tried focusing on facts to calm my thoughts, but everything screamed that my night had shifted forever. I sat in the small office, hands clenched so tightly my knuckles burned white. Reality was still settling slowly. Ryan had slipped something into my drink, and without Tara, I might never have known until it was too late. Tara closed the door and sat beside me. You did the right thing, she said gently. Her calm voice helped me breathe. I nodded, still unable to speak. I heard faint voices outside, officers talking to the manager, chairs scraping softly, curious whispers from diners sensing trouble. Every sound made my body tense. I couldn't stop imagining Ryan's face when police approached, confused, angry, pretending innocence. After a few minutes, an officer entered. He introduced himself as Detective Carter, tall, with kind eyes that eased me. He asked me to describe everything from meeting Ryan onward. My voice trembled at first, but I pushed through. I explained how we met online, how Ryan ordered my drink, how Tara passed the note, what she told me in the bathroom. The detective listened carefully, writing notes, asking small details gently. How many sips? How long Ryan watched his phone? When I finished, he nodded. You did the right thing not drinking more, he said. We're sending both drinks to the lab now. His tone stayed calm, but eyes showed seriousness. We'll also check fake names or prior complaints. You're not the first woman tonight with a similar story. That sentence struck hard. Not the first woman. My heart ached imagining others trusting Ryan. The detective asked if I wanted someone here. I said I'd call my mom. When I heard her voice, words barely came. Mom, I whispered. I'm okay, but please come. I need you. While waiting, Tara sat across, arms crossed protectively, eyes steady. You know, she said, I almost didn't write that note. I hesitated, second-guessing myself briefly. But then I thought, what if I'm right and she needs help? She looked down, then back. I'm glad I trusted my gut. Emotion rose sharply. I swallowed hard. You saved my life, I said. I didn't even notice. She smiled softly. Most people wouldn't. That's what makes people like him dangerous. They rely on kindness and trust. But not tonight. When my mom arrived, she rushed to me, arms wrapping tight like childhood. I didn't hold back tears. She whispered, You're safe now, sweetheart. That's all that matters. I felt her trembling, but she stayed strong. After a while, Detective Carter returned. We confirmed his real name is Ryan Hale, but he's linked to 2 other reports under aliases. We'll handle it now, but need your statement tomorrow. He paused. You were lucky, Miss Brooks. That waitress was very brave. Before leaving, I wanted to see Tara. I found her near the counter, talking quietly. When she saw me, she smiled warmly. I'm glad you're okay, she said. I hugged her tightly. I'll never forget you, I whispered. She chuckled softly. Just promise one thing, she said. The next date, order your own drink. That humor made me laugh for the first time. I nodded. Deal? As my mom and I stepped outside, night air washed over me. The rain had stopped, streets glistening under streetlights. A police car remained parked. Seeing it made me shiver. I imagined how the night could have gone differently. If I'd ignored the note, taken another sip. My stomach twisted. In the car, my mom drove quietly, then said softly, I always told you trust instincts, but sometimes life sends someone else to be your instincts when you can't. I stared at wet streets, her words echoing deeply. She was right. That night wasn't only about danger. It was about how sometimes a complete stranger steps into your life exactly when you need them most. I decided that fear would not rule me, but I would never again ignore that small voice whispering something feels wrong. As we turned onto my street, I felt exhausted yet strangely alive. For the first time in hours, I breathed freely. I glanced at my mom quietly and said, I'm okay. She reached over, squeezed my hand, smiled. You will be, honey. You already are. That night, I made a promise to myself. I would never doubt that inner warning again. No matter how polite or charming someone appeared, I would always remember the woman who noticed what I couldn't and saved me by trusting her instincts. The next morning felt like waking from a nightmare trailing into daylight. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Ryan smile across the table, the sharp glint in his eyes as he nudged that glass toward me. My mom stayed the night, sleeping in the chair by my bed, so I wasn't alone. The morning quiet felt heavier than usual. I kept thinking about how close I came to drinking that wine. One sip and things could have ended differently. By 9:00 a.m., Detective Carter called, asking me to come to the station for a statement. I dressed slowly, body weighed down by fear and disbelief. My mom offered to drive, and I agreed. When we arrived, the detective greeted us with a tired, kind smile, leading us into a small interview room. The air smelled of coffee and disinfectant. He slid a file across the table and said, Before we begin, thank you for staying calm last night. You helped stop someone who's been difficult to catch. His words made my pulse race. You mean he's done this before? He asked. He nodded. We believe so. His real name is Ryan Hale, but he's used at least 3 aliases across states. He meets women online, earns trust, then drugs them. Some victims never press charges because they couldn't remember afterward. You're the first to walk away unharmed. My stomach dropped sharply. I thought I might vomit. I looked at my mom, who reached across the table, holding my hand. You did everything right, she said softly, eyes shining with tears she tried hiding. Detective Carter continued, we found traces of sedative in your glass. Fast acting, dissolves within minutes. The bartender confirmed Ryan switched glasses after you left. He's been in custody all night. We're also working with departments holding open reports under different names. I sat silently as everything sank in. I couldn't stop picturing other women who trusted Ryan's smile, his gentle voice, his fake kindness. The thought made me shiver. It felt like realizing someone human wore a mask all along. The detective handed me a small paper cup of water. You were lucky, he said. And that waitress, Tara, acted quickly. She noticed what others miss. Without her, this could have ended differently. I nodded, words stuck inside. In that moment, I understood how fragile trust truly is. How excitement and hope can twist into danger instantly. Hours later, after signing statements and confirming details, the detective told me Ryan requested a lawyer and stayed silent. They found several ID, 2 phones, and a vial of clear liquid in his car. My heart clenched. He planned this, I whispered. He planned everything. My mom wrapped an arm around me. But he didn't escape, she said. That's what matters. When we left the station, rain had stopped, clouds breaking apart. Sunlight made everything look cleaner, as if the world reset itself. Inside, I still felt uneasy. I knew Ryan wasn't the last like him. That thought scared me, but strengthened my resolve to speak up, to share my story, to protect others. Later that week, I returned to the restaurant to thank Tara again. I waited until after the dinner rush. When she saw me, she smiled, already understanding. I didn't expect you back so soon, she said, wiping her hands. I had to, I replied. You didn't just help me. You stopped him from hurting others. Stopped him from hurting others. Friends with it. I can't thank you enough. She shook her head. You don't need to thank me. I did what anyone should when something feels wrong. Most wouldn't risk getting involved, I said. You could have ignored it. Tara sighed, leaning against the counter. I saw this years ago, she said quietly. A girl wasn't so lucky. I promised myself if I saw it again, I'd step in. You were my second chance. Her words struck deeply. Tears stung my eyes. This time, not from fear, from gratitude. You gave me my second chance, too, I said softly. She smiled, handing me coffee on the house. You'll be okay, Lena. It takes time, but you'll be okay. As I walked out, the night air felt gentle. Cars passed, people laughed nearby. Life continued. I realized Ryan hadn't taken my strength. I was still here, still breathing. And because of one woman's courage, I could tell my story. That night, I opened my laptop. I stared at the blank screen before typing. Last Friday night, a waitress saved my life. I shared everything, hoping someone would listen to their instincts. Within hours, messages poured in, women sharing stories, thanking me. I felt pain and pride. What happened was terrifying, but it wouldn't define me. It would remind me that danger can wear a friendly face, and bravery often comes from unexpected people. As I closed my laptop and turned off lights, I whispered, "You're safe now." But safety didn't come from fear. It came from awareness, courage, and never ignoring signs again. A week passed before I felt able to breathe. The first nights after, I barely slept. Every sound startled me. I woke from dreams at that table, Ryan smiling, the napkin beside my plate. My mom stayed close, reminding me it was over. Emotionally, I was still there, replaying every second. It's strange how one evening changes everything. Before that night, I thought bad things happened only to careless people. I believed I could tell good from bad. Now I knew danger doesn't announce itself. Sometimes it sits smiling across from you. The police called days later with an update. Ryan had records under another name in 2 states. Reports from women remembering only fragments. Some never pressed charges, blaming themselves or lacking proof. Hearing that broke my heart. I realized how close I'd come to being one of those stories ending quietly without justice ever being served. I thanked Detective Carter sincerely for everything, and he assured me confidently Ryan would face multiple serious charges this time. Yes. When I hung up the call, I sat still, staring at my phone silently, trying to absorb the sudden relief flooding me. My mom gently encouraged taking some time away from work, but I found comfort returning to my art classroom. The kids had no idea what happened, yet their laughter and creativity slowly helped me heal. When one student proudly held a messy painting saying, "It's not perfect, but it's mine," something inside me softened completely. That's how I felt inside. Not perfect, but still standing strong. Mhm. Still completely mine. A few days later, I returned to the restaurant, not from obligation, but desire. I wanted to see Tara again. It felt important closing that circle properly, thanking her without chaos surrounding us. When I walked in, she wiped tables near the bar. She looked up surprised yet happy seeing me. "Well, look who's back," she said with a warm smile. I sat in a booth and said quietly, "I wanted to thank you again. Not just for acting, but trusting instincts. You owed me nothing, yet still stepped in." She shrugged with that familiar humble smile. "You don't need thanks, Lena. You would have done same." "Maybe," I said softly, "but you didn't hesitate. That's bravery." Tara paused thoughtfully before speaking. "Most people think danger always looks frightening, but it doesn't. It wears kindness, charm, a free drink. That's why we must watch out for each other, especially women. We notice what others miss." Her words stayed with me long afterward. I realized how often I'd ignored small gut feelings just to seem polite. That night taught me politeness is never more important than safety. It showed me that people who protect each other, even strangers, are why some stories end differently. As days became weeks, life slowly felt normal again. Fear didn't disappear overnight, but faded each time I reminded myself I'd survived. My mom called more often, sometimes just to hear me breathe. Each call reminded me how fragile life is and how precious caring people are. One evening, scrolling messages on social media, I saw how many read my story. Women nationwide commented, saying my words gave them courage to trust instincts. Reading that made me realize something powerful. Maybe my experience could help others. Maybe speaking up reclaimed control. I decided to start a small online group for women sharing experiences and safety tips. I wanted a space where no one felt alone or silenced by fear. It was small, but it turned darkness into protection. The first video meeting was emotional. Hearing women speak about hidden pain showed how vital awareness is. One woman said, "If someone warned me like Tara, my story would have ended differently." That sentence made everything worth it. One night, closing my laptop, I noticed a photo of my mom and me. I reflected on danger, fear, a stranger's kindness, and strength I didn't know I had. I smiled without guilt for the first time. That night, I wrote in my journal, "I'm not just a victim. I'm a survivor, stronger than before." It's strange how terror teaches courage, trust, and goodness still present. I didn't leave that night broken. I walked away awake. Before ending, remember this. If something feels wrong, trust yourself. Just like Tara's note saved mine. If you found my story meaningful, subscribe and comment below telling where you're watching from. Let's spread awareness. Look out for each other, because sometimes the smallest act of courage can make the biggest